The following is a production of TeamBoydTV.com. The Black and Blue Podcast.
We're rolling hard and we're headed to the house just to get a taste of the Carolina pride. We're rolling, 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 rolling. 995, 77 South. We're rolling hard and we're headed to the house just to get a taste of the Carolina pride. We're rolling, rolling, rolling.
What's going on, everybody? What's going on? What's happening? How everybody feeling today, man? Hey, listen. It is so good to be back on the Black and Blue Podcast, and I got myself a new theme song. And I don't know, some of you guys who are from the old school, y'all know where the song come from. I just kind of chopped it up a little bit and made it my own, but it's nice. I love it. Got a little Carolina flavor with Anthony Hamilton on there, singing that soulful stuff. I absolutely love it. Got me excited when I found the song. I was like, yo, I got to use that for the Black and Blue Podcast. It would be wrong if I didn't use the song for the Black and Blue Podcast. You know what I mean? Originally, I had a really, really exciting show lined up for this week, man. I'm going to push it back to next week because basically what was going on was I had this conversation with my brother JB a couple days ago, and we had this real interesting conversation about Cam Newton and his ankle injury and his recovery. And a bunch of different stuff. And I don't want to give it all away, but the conversation was really, really, really good. And I was like, yo, I'm going to do a podcast based around this conversation because, you know, and this is a guy who is not a Panthers fan. He's actually a Baltimore Ravens fan. And to hear the stuff that he was saying was just amazing. And I was like, yo, I got to do this. But props to my boy, my brother JB, man, for... you know, because like I said, I'm going to bring it to you guys. You guys will get that podcast. I was going to push it back to next week, though, because, you know, everybody knows what's going on, you know, this week and everything. So I felt like, you know, with everything that was going on, you know, and honestly, Saturday when the story about NBA owner of the Los Angeles Clippers, Donald Sterling, when that story first broke with the audio recording and stuff, you know, I really wanted to kind of to do some stuff then, but I was like, no, I'm going to let this play out. I'm going to see what's going to happen. You know, and then so today, of course, you know, the new NBA commissioner, Adam Silver, had his press conference and all that kind of stuff. But you know what? We're going to talk about that because it's a real touchy subject. And I felt like, you know, I just needed to dedicate a whole show to just talk, not that particular situation, you know, with Donald Sterling and the NBA, because this is not an NBA show. But, you know, that whole thing kind of resonates beyond the NBA, you know what I mean? And that kind of thing. But you know what? Like I said, we're going to get into that in a second. A couple of things I want to talk to you guys about first and foremost that I'm excited about. I'm excited because, you know, we did got the schedule last week, and I was so super happy about that. And, you know, and then, you know, we did the podcast, and I was like looking at the schedule for the first time while I was doing the podcast, and I was like super excited, and it was awesome. And then I go to YouTube a little while later, and I see a bunch of stuff that everybody else was putting up about the schedule, and this, that, and the third, and people are putting a team in the Super Bowl, in the playoffs and stuff already. Crazy stuff, you know. It was ridiculous things that I was seeing and reading on Twitter and on YouTube and on Facebook. It was crazy. But you know what? It's all in good fun because we all NFL fans and we all love our teams and stuff. And but it was cool seeing that kind of stuff, man. It was pretty awesome. Want to give a shout out to my boy Louis T first and foremost, man. This dude is like one of the hardest working dudes that I've seen on YouTube in a long, long time, man. Like, he is doing schedule breakdowns for every single team, doing mock drafts, all this crazy stuff that I really don't really get into. Because I'm a Panthers fan first, and I'm an NFL. Let me rephrase that. I'm an NFL guy first, and then I'm a Panthers fan second. But at the same time, I feel like you know, there's other guys who are way better at doing like mock drafts and, you know, prospect breakdowns and stuff like that. Another dude I want to give a shout out to is my man Dave. His YouTube channel is Wake Up Is Football. He's another one, man. Puts in a lot of work on the off season, doing a lot of stuff on YouTube. Fantastic. I love watching his stuff. And then, you know, I want to give a shout out to the good people over on Facebook, man. There is, one of the Facebook groups that I'm a part of is, Panthers Fans for Life. Panthers Fans for Life, PanthersForLife.com. That's what it is. Let me get it right. Ran by my homeboy Reggie Holmes, man. They invited me to the group a while back. Some really good people in there. My homeboy Anthony Dunn from Cat Chronicles is part of that group. No comparison from YouTube. I've been following him for a while. He's in the group as well. One of my homeboys, one of our close friends, Steve Wright, is in the group as well. Good group of Carolina Panthers diehards in that group, and I enjoy reading their posts and stuff. And the fact that they've showed me so much love by letting me, share the Black and Blue podcast on their Facebook page, allowing me to do to share my view of how I feel as a Carolina Panther on their Facebook page. I absolutely appreciate it, and I wanted to make sure that I let Reggie and everybody else on PanthersForLife.com on Facebook that I do appreciate it. You know what I mean? And also there's Panthers Huddle on Facebook, is another group a page that I follow. Check this guy's stuff out on YouTube. It's actually pretty good and that kind of thing. So, those are things I wanted to kind of address first and foremost. And then I wanted to move into, I guess I wanted to plug, my brother JB's. He, kind of convinced him, he'd been enjoying the Black and Blue podcast just like everybody else has. And, he decided he wanted to, get into podcasting himself. So I know ain't a whole lot of Baltimore Ravens fans listening to this podcast, but if you know somebody who may or may not be a Baltimore Ravens fan, my brother's, Baltimore Ravens War Machine podcast will be coming very, 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 very soon. We've been working together trying to get him set up and going. And I'm excited for that. Anytime the Team Boyd TV team grows and expands, it makes me happy. You know what I mean? It makes me very, very happy. And another thing that made me happy, speaking of making me happy, on last week's Black and Blue podcast, we I think I unveiled or talked about for the first time the whole TeamBoydTV.com donation deal that we got on TeamBoydTV.com website and everything. And, I wasn't really thinking nothing about it, but after the podcast, a couple of days later, I checked it out, and I'm telling you, I was so pleasantly surprised that, a few of you guys actually donated to the project, which I thought was amazing. I wasn't really expecting anything. But then, it was a couple people, and I have to recognize these people because they were the first ones to step up to the plate and donate to the Team Boyd TV project. So let's see. The first one is Allison. It says Allison C. She's out of Spartanburg. Thank you so much for the donation. I definitely appreciate it. And then we have Jonathan W. And he's out of South Carolina. And thank you for the donation as well. Look, you guys don't know. Like I just started this podcast stuff. You know what I mean? I just started this, and the support that you guys have been showing me is just. I don't want to get all sappy and emotional. I don't want to do that. But, it's just seeing the impact and seeing people kind of, getting involved with the project. It's amazing. It's overwhelming. I absolutely appreciate it. And that kind of thing. So to those guys, who donate to the show, look, I appreciate it. And of course, the more this stuff happens, the more I can give you guys quality, programming, especially with the stuff that we got coming up on TeamBoydTV.com. That's one thing I was supposed to announce this week. And I guess I can do that now because since we got the schedule last week, I said I was going to make an announcement this week. The announcement is that season 2 of Team Boyd TV Live will be premiering on July 9th. That's a Wednesday night, 7:30 p.m. Season 2 premiere. Me, my brother JB, my boy Glass from Get With It Sports. We're coming back for a second season to do what we did last summer, and we completely just took YouTube over, and we had a really awesome divisional breakdown series that we did over the summer. It's fantastic. You guys showed it a lot of love last year. It was a lot of fun doing it. And me and the fellas, we definitely appreciate everybody who gave us the feedback and who joined and watched the show every week. It was a blast. Oh, excuse me, doing it. And I'm trying to think, was there anything else I needed to say before we got into the show? Because it was just a lot. It was a lot, and I was like, I don't know which way to go. Because, usually when you have things planned out and then unexpected things happen, it changes the whole schedule. You have to kind of do things a different way. You know what I mean? And that kind of thing. So, Oh yes, the last thing I got to do. It's one more thing I got to do before we get into the topic, because it's one of my obligations. I got to do it. And I've been saying this on Twitter. I've been saying this on Facebook. I've been saying this on YouTube. I've been telling people, it don't matter. Like if you listen to this podcast on the archives, through the RSS feeds, through iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud. Where else we got it at? We got it everywhere. The podcast is everywhere. But if you listen through those various sources, you can't listen to it live. So I always try to suggest that people go and download the Spreaker app. If you're on iOS, get it from the Apple App Store. Download the Spreaker app. Just search TeamBoydTV or search Black and Blue Podcast, whatever. You will find it. Follow the show. Show your support that way. If you are on Android, you can go to the Google Play Store. Same situation. Just download the Spreaker app, search TeamBoydTV or Black and Blue Podcast. And, cause it's always cool when you can listen to it live. And I like the more live listeners that we have, the more we can do audience, participation and stuff like that. And for the few of you guys who are on the Windows Phone, platform, you can still get it on the Windows platform as well. So same situation. Just go to the Microsoft Store, download the app. So that's how I had to kind of put that out there because I actually love what I've been doing on Spreaker. Spreaker has been awesome. You know what I mean? Oh, and that reminds me, last week's Black and Blue podcast, which was entitled Schedule Release 2014, was the no, actually it wasn't. It was the one before that. It was the Best and the Worst podcast that I did. Actually, finally broke 100 spins. And I was happy about it. And then we got that one had 100 spins, and then last week's episode of Schedule Release had 100 spins. Made me feel real good. Made me feel good about what I'm doing here, bringing this podcast to you guys. And I know you guys will listen to the podcast today because you guys wanted to hear my take on this racism stuff and professional sports, and we're gonna talk about it. And I was sitting here trying to decide whether or not I wanted to get into playing the audio tape because I figured by now this has been out since Saturday. So we had Saturday, Sunday, and yesterday to listen to this tape. But I'm going to play it in its entirety. I'm going to play it in its entirety, and then I'll give you guys my thoughts on that particular situation, and then we'll start talking about some of the stuff that I wanted to cover as far as racism and professional sports as a whole. So what we will do is we'll get right into this audio recording real quick. So check it out.
Honey, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, too.
I wish I can change the color of my skin.
That isn't the issue. You missed the issue.
What's the issue?
The issue is we don't have to broadcast it.
I'm not broadcasting anything. I don't do anything wrong.
Nobody said you did anything wrong.
I don't do anything wrong. If we ever have any issues, it's because people call you and tell you things about me that are not true.
Why are you broadcasting?
I'm not broadcasting anything.
Why are you taking pictures with minorities? Why?
What's wrong with minorities? What's wrong with black people?
Nothing.
What's wrong with these
It's
families?
like talking to an enemy. There's nothing wrong with minorities. They're fabulous. Fabulous. Because you're an enemy to me.
Why?
Because you don't understand.
I don't understand what.
Nothing.
That racism still is alive?
No, that there's a culture.
What culture?
People steal certain things. Hispanics steal certain things towards blacks. Blacks steal certain things towards other groups. It's been that way historically, and it will always be that way.
But it's not that way in my heart and in my mind.
But maybe you want to adjust to the world.
But why? If the world doesn't do anything for me and they don't make me happy.
You're right. I don't want to argue with you. I don't want to argue.
I can't be racist in my heart.
And that's good. I'm living in a culture, and I have to live within the culture. So that's the way it is. That's how I got it. I got the whole message. You live with your heart.
I don't.
You can't be flexible. You can.
I am flexible. I understand that that's the way you were raised and that's your culture, and I'm respectful and
why do you have to disrespect them? Those are.
Who am I disrespecting?
The world before you.
Why am I disrespecting them?
By walking, you're perceived as either a Latina or a white girl. Why should you be walking publicly with black people? Why? Is there a benefit to you?
Is it a benefit to me? Does it matter if they're white or blue or yellow?
I guess that you don't know that. Maybe you're stupid. Maybe you don't know what people think of you. It does matter, yeah. It matters.
Do you know that I'm mixed?
No, I don't know.
You know that I'm mixed.
You told me you were going to remove those. You said, yes, I understand you. I mean, you change from day to day. Wow. So painful. Wow.
People call you and tell you that I have black people on my Instagram, and it bothers you.
Yeah, it bothers me a lot that you want to broadcast that you're associating with black people. Do you have to?
You associate with black people.
I'm not you and you're not me. You're supposed to be a delicate white or a delicate Latina girl.
I'm a mixed girl.
Okay. Well, but we
And you're in love with me. And I'm black and Mexican, whether you like it or not,
Okay.
whether the world accepts it or not. And you're asking me to remove something that's part of me and in my bloodstream because the world thinks different of me and you're afraid of what they're going to think because of your upbringing. You want me to have hate towards black people?
I don't want you to hate. That's what people do. They turn things around. I want you to love them privately. In your whole life, every day you could be with them. Every single day of your life.
But not in public?
But why publicize it on the Instagram and why bring it to my games?
Why bring the black people to the game?
I really don't want to discuss it anymore. It's over. I don't want to talk about it.
I'm sorry that you feel that way.
I feel that way so strongly, and it may cause our relationship to just break apart. And if it does, it does. It's better to break apart now than to break apart later.
I'm sorry that you still have people around you that are full of racism and hate in their hearts. I'm sorry that you're still racist in your heart. I'm sorry that you live in a world that's still...
How about your whole life? Every day, you could do whatever you want. You could sleep with them, you could bring them in, you could do whatever you want. The little I ask you is not to promote it on that and not to bring them to my games.
I don't bring anyone to the game.
Okay, then. There's nothing to argue about.
I know.
Okay, we got a big problem here. I really don't feel like going anywhere. I don't feel like going to Europe. I don't feel like just going to the whole thing. We gotta pay it. If you didn't like someone that I was with, I would stop seeing that person.
I'm sorry, I don't have any more friends. What would you like me to do? Remove the skin color out of my skin?
Is that a real issue, or are you making something up?
I mean, I just don't understand what the issue is.
There's nothing wrong with you or your skin color. Why are you saying these things? To upset me? Okay.
Sweetie, I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry, too. We made a giant mistake, both of us. Everything you say to me is so painful. Do I want you to change the color of your skin? You know how to really hurt somebody. And just, instead of saying, I understand.
I don't understand how you can have so much hate towards minorities.
I don't have any hate. I love them.
I cannot understand
Why would you say
how a
hate?
person like you who's elevated, who's here, still feels above the world, and you can't even be seen with someone in which is considered of a different skin
They
color.
can be with me all day long, all night long.
I can't believe that a man who's educated, a man who's a scholar, a man
Well,
who's...
believe it and stop talking about it. Let's finish our discussion with a period, okay? You're not making any good points. You can't believe this man. That's all I am. I'm not a good person in your eyes. If I was a good person, you wouldn't say, I can't believe this. I can't believe that.
What am I
Which
supposed
are all
to say?
lies. I love this.
Look at all this negativity coming from...
There's no negativity. I love everybody. I'm just saying, in your lousy Instagrams, you don't have to have yourself with walking with black people. You don't have to. If you want to, do it.
If it's white people, it's okay? If it was Larry Bird, would it have made a difference?
You're just a big fighter. I could see who would want to live with a woman like you. Who would want to live with a woman? All you ever wanted to do was fight. You're a born fighter.
I'm sorry that you're mad.
You're the worst mouth.
Why are you so angry, honey? What's wrong?
Well, why would you bring up Larry Bird? What has he got to do with it? You can walk all night long with your sisters or your family.
I saw someone I admire. I admire Magic Johnson.
Okay, good.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
He's made a lot of changes for his community, for the world, for the people, for the minorities. He's helped a lot of people.
Why are you forcing this down my throat? I'm finished talking to you. I have nothing more to say.
And I took a picture with someone I admire.
Good.
And he happens to be black, and I'm sorry.
I think it's nice that you admire him. I know him well, and he should be admired. And I'm just saying that it's too bad you can't admire him privately. And during your entire life, your whole life, admired him. Bring him here, feed him, him. I don't care. You can do anything. But don't put him on this event for the world has to see, so they have to call me. And don't bring him into my games, okay?
I don't know him personally.
Please leave me alone. Please, please.
I'm sorry. Is there anything that I can do to make you feel better?
No, you could never make me feel better. You're just a fighter and you want to fight.
All right, so, only reason why I wanted to play that in its full context is because I wanted, okay, let me see if I can articulate this the correct way. This particular conversation, now, don't get it twisted. I understand this guy's history. I understand the problems that he's had with like race issues in the past. This is fully documented. Everybody knows about it. Everybody knows about the real estate apartment thing with the Asians and the black and Latino. Everybody know about this. Everybody know about the Baron Davis situation. Everybody know all this stuff, right? And so, only thing I wanted. This is my reaction when I heard this the first time. The first time I listened to it, yes, he was saying some things that were considered to be kind of racist or whatever, and that kind of thing. And before I continue, let me say this: when it comes to people, right? And I know people are reacting to this all kind of ways. And black people are getting super upset. Latino people are upset. White people are upset because the focus is on the racial part of it. And so that make you feel a certain kind of way because of the way the story was presented, right? But I want to make something clear, and this is just clearly my opinion about it. When you're upset, especially when you're dealing with people that you're in a relationship with, or whatever the case may be. Now, this woman clearly had to be the one that was recording this conversation, and clearly she was doing this for personal gain, and clearly she was kind of trying to get him to say certain things. And in the heat of the situation, certain things came out of the guy because he was feeling really, really emotional. Now, I'm not saying, I'm not condoning anything this dude said by no stretch of the imagination. I'm just talking about in this particular situation right here. I felt like he kind of got exploited a little bit. And the thing that, and I was at an argument with somebody at work about this yesterday about, we as people, we say stuff, that we think are private conversations to people, all the time. We say stuff that we don't want the rest of the world to know that we said. We feel things that we don't want the rest of the world to know we feel. It happens. We're all human. It works that way. Now, with that being said, since this private conversation did become public, it kind of put a face to a lot of, racist stuff that's been going on in the world, all along. You got somebody that you can look at and be like, okay, that guy right there is a racist and that kind of thing. And the part that really, really, really kind of, irritates me a little bit is that this guy is a dude that employs a whole lot of black people, a whole lot of, Latino people, and this, that, and the third. Basically, he couldn't even imagine being in the position that he's in right now if it wasn't for those people. And to let something like this get out about how he feel about those people who kind of made him who he is, it speaks volume of the dude's character. You know what I mean? And so, anytime race issues come up, I try my best to look at it from both sides. I try to. And, I never understand racism because I guess you would have to be a certain race to kind of understand. I don't know. It just, I don't get it. I don't understand how anybody could have such hatred for another person just purely based on their nationality or cultural background or skin color. That is something that I would never, ever, ever understand in my life. You know what I mean? I don't get that. There's plenty of reasons to not like people. There's plenty of reasons to hate somebody. But for something like that they have absolutely no control over, it just seemed a little crazy to me. And I know this guy is old as dirt. He's like 80 something years old. And, he came from a time when, he grew up in a racially charged time, and things were definitely a lot different on his way up than it was for people like me and people my age. For the most part, we don't really see it that way because, the people who came before us, I'm talking to the black people right now, they fought these battles. They fought those battles, trying to get equality and stuff and jobs and on public transportation and just being accepted in this country to begin with. And, so we didn't have to do that. So, that's why I can sit here and say, I don't get it. I don't understand, and for me, and I know it may be other people like me, but whenever racist stuff comes up, cultural differences and whatnot, I find the humor in it. I find it lighthearted. I think that the differences between us all is funny. You know what I mean? Like, when you stereotype people and stuff, I mean, some of them they happen to be true, but that's for me, I think it's humorous. I don't really see it as a reason to hate the next person. Like, I work in retail, so I meet people all the time. And, it's always the stuff about how if the Indian guy comes in, he's going to be super cheap. Or if black people come in, they can't afford nothing. Or if, who is it? The Asian people come in, they come in as a group and the whole entire family just about one thing. Which for me, those things are funny to me. I wouldn't say I don't want to talk to these guys because they're Asian or they're Indian or whatever the case may be. It's just, there's certain things about certain people. And for me, and I don't know, maybe I'm, maybe one person in a million who finds humor in this kind of stuff, but I do. And it's not to say, anything bad. It's just, I feel like, God created us all different. If there was no diversity among humanity, then, we'll all just be the same person walking around. Life would not be interesting if everybody was exactly the same. You know what I mean? And that's just my opinion on it. Now, as far as Donald Sterling goes, the last thing I want to say about this guy is that, it's a shame, that you can rise to a position of power like that and get caught up in a situation like that. I still, put a lot of the blame on this lady, on this chick, that he was running around with, I mean, honestly, if you a young lady and you kind of catch the eye of some old rich billionaire who happens to be a racist, but he happens to like you for whatever reason, I guess I can't really blame her for going that route. It's just sad that, the people that he called himself wanting to be, hating and stuff, one of those people actually is going to be the one to bring him down. And that kind of thing. It's crazy. It's just, the whole situation is just ridiculously crazy. So today we were sitting around, I was sitting around waiting on, the brand new NBA commissioner, Adam Silver to come out. And, and honestly, I've been watching, ESPN and stuff all morning to see what everybody was saying about the situation. And, a lot of people were saying, how, if it was like a slap on the wrist type situation, then this situation would have went completely out of control. And and that's one thing that sets this country off more than anything else is race relations. Anytime a racial situation comes up, this country goes crazy. You know what I mean? And very much so, because this is the most culturally diverse country in the world. So, it's always going to be something like this. But at the same time, the NBA commissioner, to his credit, and I wasn't expecting this. I was sitting there watching the guy. I didn't know what he was going to say. And, and honestly, I really thought it was going to be on some stuff like, we're going to suspend him for the rest of the playoffs, or some mild. I didn't think it was going to be anything crazy. But this guy came out, and, I got to say, I was definitely impressed. He banned Donald Sterling from the LA Clippers team and activities for life. He can't show up to anything that has anything to do with the Los Angeles Clippers for the rest of his existence. That blew me away. Then he hit him with the maximum fine allowed, which is $2.5 million, which ain't really gonna hurt him too bad. But he hit him with the maximum, which I was like, wow, okay, good. And then he was like, how he was gonna sit there and initiate, Donald Sterling to sell the team. He was on initiate the sale of the Los Angeles Clippers team to remove this guy as an owner. And you know what? I was stunned. I ain't gonna lie. I was stunned by the decision, but at the same time, I was like, you know what? This was the absolute best thing that the commissioner could have done, because of the fact that if it had went any other way, this podcast would be going a lot different right now. You know what I'm saying? And LA has a track record of, when race relations boil over in LA, it comes to a head. And I'm telling you, it wouldn't have been pretty. It wouldn't have been pretty at all. And so, I got to give the new commissioner Adam Silver, his props, man. That was good. Cause I was thinking to myself, because I'm an NFL guy, and I used to be a really, really big NBA guy back in the day, back when I was a teenager. Loved the NBA, but I stopped watching it because the NBA had got so. I don't know if I want to. I was just trying to find a word I can use without, making NBA fans mad. But the game just seemed like it was less about the game than it was about certain individuals. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna say it like that. And so it became less interesting to me. Because it wasn't really about the game anymore. The game is always, for me as a sports fan, the game is always the most important thing. And then, you got players, and you got star players, and you got role players, and you got people who are very, very influential in the sport. But at the same time, in my opinion, it always comes down to the game. If you take the game away from LeBron James or any of these guys, Carmelo Anthony, Kevin Garnett, if you take the game away, who are they? You know what I mean? So, I feel like when the players and the NBA as a whole stop respecting the game of basketball, that's when I stopped watching. You know what I mean? I did. And I really, really honed in and just became a bigger NFL fan, because the NFL gets it. The NFL understands. And I'm not going to sit here and create a debate between, who is the most, ethical of the two, pro sports, leagues, the NFL and NBA. I'm not going to do that. But I will say this, as an NFL fan, I can say with most confidence that the NFL completely understands, and they get the situation. They understand that the strength of the league is actually going to be in the culture of the game. It's going to be in the fans that support it. It's going to be in the players that play it, and all this spotlight on the owners and stuff like that. It just doesn't fly in the NFL. You got owners who try to be flamboyant and whatnot, like Jerry Jones and whatnot, and they get their moment to shine for a few minutes. But you know what? At the end of the day, it's not really about him. You know what I mean? Anytime any kind of racist stuff comes up in the NFL, excuse me, it gets squashed almost immediately. And I gotta say, this particular situation, and the NBA did a really, really good job. I gotta give them their props on that. I don't want it to seem like I'm thinking that the NBA didn't do a good job with this, because they did. I think they did a fantastic job, and they did a real good job in this particular situation. But back to what I was saying, anytime any kind of social issue comes up, the NFL handles it with like the the most class I've seen any major organization handle anything. I mean, I can remember stuff like the whole Kerry Collins thing with the Carolina Panthers. I remember just last season the Riley Cooper situation with the Philadelphia Eagles and whatnot. You know what? They don't play around. You know what I mean? Like, if you doing some things that's going to offend the fan base or the players in the league, the NFL squashes it. Same thing with, sexuality, homophobic situations and whatnot. We had last season or in the last off season, I forget what the guy's name was who used to play for the Baltimore Ravens, but came out and talking about, it's going to be a lot of gay players going to come out and say this, that, and the third. And the NFL was bracing for it because they knew that this was going to be a socially charged issue, and they had to squash it immediately. And I'm saying, what have you heard about that since? And even during the combine this season, who was the wide receiver's name? Mike something or other, but he was supposed to be gay or whatever. You heard them report that story like maybe once or twice, and that was it. It's been gone and dismissed ever since. The whole thing last season with the Miami Dolphins, Richie Incognito and Jonathan Martin, and it seemed like they were going to try to make this into a really, really huge deal. The situation came up, the NFL shut it down. Then when it came back up again, they were pretty much handing out sentences or disciplinary action to people. And that was it. We didn't hear about this no more. You know what I mean? Cause that's how quickly the NFL acts on things like this, because they know that these things are important to the culture of the game. Right. And again, I think the NBA did a fantastic job. I think they did a fantastic job this go around. This thing lasted about 3 days. It's over now. We'll talk about it again for maybe another day or two. And we move on. And the sad part about it happened right during the middle of the first, round of the NBA playoffs and whatnot. And, when the NFL had already done kind of kicked them, where it hurts, because the NFL released their schedule, which everybody made into a big deal, first. And then 3 days later, this stuff comes out. So, this first round of the NBA playoffs has been a little challenging for the NBA. But you know what? I think they're going to persevere. I think for the rest of the NBA playoffs, we can probably enjoy them, and it won't be any more stuff like that. Now, we're going to take a little bit of a break. When I come back, I just want to talk about some more stuff. I just want to talk about my personal feelings about racism in pro sports, and maybe pose a few questions to you guys, and y'all guys can respond, either via any of the social media things that you feel like responding to. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take this real quick break here real quick, and then we'll be right back. All right. What up, football fans? You want to stay up on the latest of TeamBoydTV happenings? Like us on our Facebook page at TeamBoydTV on Facebook. You can also follow us on Twitter at TeamBoydTV and at VernieB73. You can also check out our YouTube page at TeamBoydTV Turbo, where there's live events, videos, among other things. You can also keep up with the latest happenings, live chats, question and answer sessions on Google Plus at TeamBoydTV. Thank you once again for watching TeamBoydTV.
Yo, JB from TeamBoydTV, co-host of TeamBoydTV Live every Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we'll be discussing updates, breakdowns, and just about everything NFL. Hosted by yours truly, Big Q, co-hosted by me, JB, and my boy Glass from Get With It Sports. If for some reason you missed the show, still haven't had your fill, visit TeamBoydTV.com.
Black and Blue Podcast.
All right, so check this out, right? The last couple of things I wanted to talk about, though, first and foremost, is that as black people, and I ain't gonna say just as black people, I'm gonna say as anybody who's considered a minority, right? And I'm gonna say this, and I don't know if people gonna hate me for saying this, or they're gonna understand where I'm coming from. Either way, I feel like it's something I need to say. Since I have a little platform to say it, I'm gonna say it. I was listening to ESPN guy Stephen A. Smith yesterday morning, and he said something that really resonated with me. This is what he said. He says, everybody else, not minority people, let's just say everybody besides black people, they have a job, they just have to go to work. That's pretty much it. You know what I mean? They just have to go and do their job, and that's pretty much the deal. You know what I mean? But black people, we have a responsibility, because especially if we end up being successful, if we are doing a job where we are successful, and there are people that are watching us, and there are people who are emulating us, or people who are looking at us as role models, or looking at us as pioneers, or whatever they're looking at us as, it's our responsibility to do the right thing and to be upstanding citizens and whatnot. Now, during the whole Don Sterling and his girlfriend's situation or whatever, they little conversation, social media kept coming up in the conversation and whatnot. And that's another thing, I feel like, if people already don't really like us for whatever reason, whether you're Asian, whether you're black, whether you're Latino, whether you're Jewish, whatever the case may be, if you got a big group of people who just don't like you because of your cultural background or your ethnicity, why do you amplify it on social media and stuff? Because at any given time, any one of you guys can open up your Facebook page or open up your Twitter, and I guarantee you'll see a bunch of silliness going on that. Just stuff that don't really have to happen. You know what I mean? And I'm like, this is not me preaching. This is me just kind of, talking about some observations that I've made over the last couple of years. It's just that, when you look around at somebody, let's just say somebody that's not connected to any group, let's just say hypothetically, you come from outer space, you come from a different planet. I know it sounds crazy. I'm just trying to think of somebody who would not be exposed to anything cultural and not exposed to anything. And when you look around and you see stuff, you know what I mean? When you see the way black people, the dudes got their pants down to their knees or whatever, and every word that they say is a cuss word, and they acting like they really don't care about stuff. And then you got Latinos who are doing the whole Latino thing, where it's like they all super violent and got real short tempers and whatnot. And then you got Jewish people who what it looks like they're trying to just take everybody's money and just be greedy for money and stuff. So when you see things like that, as a person that's not exposed to it, how would that make you feel? Do you form, some type of, conclusion of this group of people? And is that where racism came from? Is that where it started? That's what I'm trying to figure out. That's what I'm trying to break down. I'm trying to figure out, where did this whole thing start, where one group of people would say, I hate or I don't like another group of people because of the way they act culturally. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to understand it, because, like I said, a little while ago, I really don't understand racism. I don't get it. And I don't know. I'm not sitting here trying to act like I'm innocent or nothing like that, because I'm not an idiot. I understand that racism exists. I just don't understand why it exists. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't get that part. That part confuses me. You know what I mean? Because I see people all the time, and and people are different, and I'm one of them kind of people that appreciates the fact that people are different. You know what I mean? Because I wouldn't want everybody to be like me. You know what I mean? Or I wouldn't want everybody to be like my boss. I think it's a good thing that everybody's different. It just makes the world a more interesting place to live in, and getting to know. And you meet new people, you always find out something that you didn't know about humans or about people. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm different. But I really don't understand it. Now when it's time to get angry about something, right? My take on it is this. I feel like it's a lot of injustices in the world, a lot of things that go on where, one group of people are oppressing or taking advantage of another group of people, or one particular person is doing something harmful or egregious to another individual. Now, those things I feel like is a reason to be upset. You know what I'm saying? It's a reason to, look at that person or that group of people in a certain light. But at the same time, what about the people that come after that? So if you got 4 people that happen to be white people that did something crazy to, a black person, okay, so does that give me the right to say every white person is like that? See, that's the thing I don't understand. That's what I'm trying to understand. Are we just generalizing the whole situation? Is that what we're doing? You know what I mean? Because I remember back in the day, man, old people used to say, don't trust white people, or, don't do this around white people and this, that, and the third. I'm like, what are you talking about? This, they're just people. You know what I mean? Why you got to act a certain way around certain people? I don't get that. And I think that's one of the reasons why, as long as we sit here and we put each other, and we put ourselves in these different categories and stuff, racism is always going to exist. It's never going to go away. You know what I mean? And honestly, you know, I feel like that, you know, no matter what we do, no matter, you know, I can sit up here on this podcast and I can say what I say. Stephen A. Smith can say what he said. You know, Martin Luther King could have said what he said back in the day. Malcolm X did a different way. He did what he did. I mean, all the stuff that happened over this time to fight something that is never, ever going away. That's almost like trying to fight the fact that people eventually die. You know what I mean? It's just something that it's not going to happen. You know, there's nothing you can do to keep yourself you know, alive forever. Eventually you're going to die. Ain't nothing you can do about it. Just like, I feel like racism will always be around. Now, does it need to be on display like that, or does it have to be super extreme? Now, I think eventually we'll see that kind of stuff go away, because I look at racism the kind of the same way I look at, how do you say this? The sexuality situation where, you know, about 4 or 5 years ago when, you know, the whole sexuality thing made a big splash, and it just seemed like, cause you know, it was one of the things where sexuality and you know, and what do you call it? Homosexuality, it's always been around. You know what I mean? If you can go back and research it for as far back as you want to, it's always been there. You know what I mean? It's always been there, and it's always been something that was pretty much unacceptable, even, you know, in the eyes of you know, good Christian people, even in the eyes of regular old folks. It's just something that just seems unnatural to most people, right? I'm just saying that's what it seemed like. Now, as we got to the modern era, especially over the last 5 to 10 years or so, it's one of them things that has become socially acceptable by everybody. It's accepted by everybody, and it's even got to a point where if you speak out against anybody that's homosexual, you're getting yourself into something that you really don't want to get yourself into. It's almost like one of them things where it's like one of them things you don't speak and you don't react to nothing. That's something. If somebody show up and say they're homosexual, leave it alone. You don't want to say nothing about it, because it's like back in the day, it used to be, if you said that you were homosexual, you were the bad guy, you were the outcast, you were the freak. Nowadays, if you say something about somebody or saying how you don't appreciate people being homosexual or whatever the case may be, you're the bad guy. And I got a feeling that, you know, especially seeing how this whole situation turned out and seeing how this whole David Sterling situation affected so many people, and so many people felt, you know, emotional about it, you know, all across the whole entire spectrum of races. You know, yes, of course, black people felt it, you know, a little bit more than everybody else, because they were, you know, primarily picked out and targeted. And then there's Latinos, and then there's Asians, and then, you know, there's Indians and all that kind of stuff. And even white people, a lot of white people that I know, a lot of white people I've been talking to over the last couple of days, they have been seriously offended by the situation, and they embarrassed about the situation, and they hate that one of their own is actually got caught out there doing stuff like this. So what I'm saying is, I'm thinking we'll see, this whole racism thing get treated the same way we treat homosexuality. You know, you say something bad about somebody, if you say something racist or whatever, you will be dealt with swiftly, and you know, and it won't be good for you. And I'm thinking that's probably going to be what's best. I think that's probably what's going to be what's best, and that's probably how we're going to keep this situation to a minimum. Now, if anybody out there who listens to the sound of my voice thinks otherwise, who thinks that, you know, I would really want to know. Like I've been saying this the whole entire podcast. I do not understand racism. I do not get it. I'm completely confused by it. If somebody can come and you can get at me any kind of way you want to. You can email me at Black and Blue Podcast. You can tweet me at Twitter. You know what I'm saying? You can do whatever you want to. Look, I'm on the internet everywhere. You can find me. If you can give me a legitimate, logical explanation on why you think it's acceptable to hate somebody just because of their ethnic background or the color of their skin, I will be open to listen to that. And because I want to know, I really do. I want to see what this is about, you know, because like I said, I do not get it. I do not understand and that kind of thing. So, you know, it's one of them things where as people, especially as Americans, it's one of them things that we're going to have to deal with. And, you know, and honestly, I think, you know, for the most part, you know, again, I can't give the NBA enough credit for handling the situation the way they did. I think they did it quickly. I think they did it swiftly. And I think the punishment was just. I don't think it was a little over the top or nothing like that. I think it was actually right on schedule. So I guess, again, I give Adam Silver and the NBA all the props for handling this the way they did. Because, you know, honestly, in professional sports, this is definitely not a place to to have racism because of the fact that the way professional sports are now. You know what? I wonder what would happen if this had happened in a different sport. What if this happened to an owner that owned a hockey team, or an owner who owned a race team in NASCAR? You know what I mean? Or something like that. You know, would it have the same impact? You know what I mean? I don't know. That's the thing. You know, we don't know. But see, I think the reason why most people are outraged, this happened in one of the 3 major sports in America, and it happened in one of the sports that is primarily African American. The fan base, the players, the whole entire league is primarily, I think they gave a figure somewhere around 83% whatever the case may be. And for you to own a franchise in a situation like that, something's wrong with you. If you know you feel a certain way about certain people, but the majority of the people that work for you are the people that you hate, you got a serious issue, man. Something's really wrong with you. And, cause you're in the wrong business. You know what I'm saying? You are in absolute wrong business, because you'd be like that's crazy. That's like I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good analogy for it. I don't know. That's like somebody who runs a fire station that's running around setting stuff on fire. I mean, it's kind of defeating your whole entire purpose. How you gonna say I don't like black people, but most of the people that work for you are black? It's weird to me. You know what I mean? I don't get it. You know what I mean? Because I know if I felt that strongly about anything. Right. I mean, that's just like, for example, let's use my platform, for example, because, this, I can actually hone it all the way down. In professional sports, hate is something that we kind of enjoy doing as sports fans, and it's acceptable because it's all in fun. Ain't nobody getting hurt. You know what I mean? So for me, I have a strong dislike for Dallas Cowboys. I have a strong dislike for the New England Patriots. You know what I mean? I just do not like anything about any of those organizations. You know what I mean? I respect them. I respect Jerry Jones, and I respect the Dallas Cowboys, and I respect Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. I don't like them. You know what I mean? So, and I guess it's almost the same thing. So I'm still sitting here trying to rationalize now. Why do I hate the Dallas Cowboys? Why do I hate the New England Patriots? Well, I have a couple different reasons for not liking them, right? I don't like the Dallas Cowboys because I don't like what the Dallas Cowboys represent. I don't like what the Dallas Cowboys have become. I don't like what the Dallas Cowboys, I don't like the Dallas Cowboys fan base culture. They have this, we better than everybody attitude. That's my reasons for not liking the Dallas Cowboys. Now, is that the same as Donald Sterling saying I don't want black people coming to my games because of whatever reason that he had for not liking black people, which hasn't been clear yet. We don't know what that reason is. We don't know if it's something that's ingrained in him and it was passed down from generation to generation, or maybe something happened to him. Maybe black people or Magic Johnson or somebody did. So I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, I'm sitting here trying to figure it out. And that kind of thing. So I know when in situations where I can say, well, look, I don't like this or I don't like that, it's always a rational reason why I don't. And like I said, in sports, it's different because, and as a fan, it's okay to not like the other team because, that's the whole point. You know what I'm saying? In professional sports, you pick a side, you choose that side, but at the end of the day, nobody gets hurt. You know what I mean? It doesn't affect anybody. It doesn't offend anybody. It doesn't disrespect anybody. You know what I mean? It's different. You know what I mean? And so, and that's the closest I can get to it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, I'm sitting here trying to understand because I can't really think of any reason that I would just like say I hate white people or I hate Indians or whatever. I can't think of a specific reason because they never did anything personally to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand there was some things that happened in the past. You know what I mean? But I wasn't around for that. You know what I mean? And and I ain't saying that I ain't trying to dismiss it or nothing like that. I'm just saying I wasn't there. I didn't experience that. And we had people who fought those battles, you know what I mean? So like that's over and done with. Like we moving on, you know what I mean? Like, and maybe Donald Silver is stuck. Maybe he hasn't moved on. Maybe he haven't realized that it's 2014, not 1959. You know what I mean? So maybe that's what, I don't know. I have no idea, and that kind of thing. So, it was just, this situation was weird. And I think, every so often, a big situation like this happens where, we get to see the real side of America and see what's really going on. Cause like, you know, certain things happen, like, you know, we was going through what was going through, and then 9/11 happened and everybody was all kumbaya in love with each other. And then next thing you know, other stuff happened and everybody is like hating each other again. And, you know, and it's a cycle that just goes on and on and on. And I think people who take racism too seriously are the ones who kind of furthers the cause. I think, you know, when you buy into racism, you kind of help it. It's almost like, you know, us as internet people, we have a saying, and it's called "Don't feed the trolls." Right? That's what we say all the time. And, you know, and what that means for people who don't really understand that means that if somebody is popping up trying to be negative or spread negative propaganda or just all around just being a jackass for no reason, you don't respond to it. You don't, you know, engage it, because it just makes it grow and it just festers. And then next thing you know, it's overshadowing your original message that you were trying to get out in the first place. So I would use that term in this situation. Like, I know a lot of people, like, the story broke and everybody jumped on it. You know what I mean? And it's funny how, you know, they kept putting Stephen A. Smith on TV. This dude don't work on the weekends, man. What was he doing on TV on Saturday? You know what I mean? Like, it was ridiculous to me. I didn't understand it. And all I kept thinking about was, why are they feeding this story? You know what I mean? Like, you know, it was an audio recording, you know what I mean? You know, and honestly, if you think about what the dude said, it wasn't really crazy. I've heard white people or racist people say stuff that are way more intense than what he said. But you know what, though? Everybody was deeply wounded and affected internally about this whole situation. And they just kept feeding the trolls, and they kept feeding the trolls. And the story just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And you know, and it's one of them things where, you know, I know it's hard. It's got to be, because you hear something like, what? What did he say? I know he didn't just say what I thought he said. And you know, and you have to react to it. You know what I mean? Especially something like race. You got to do it. But for the most part, if you take a deep breath and be like, is this even worth, you know, making a big deal about? You know what I mean? This is even worth that. You know what I mean? Did he hurt anybody directly? Did he cause any kind of, deficiency in anybody's, you know, way of life? Did he cause anybody to suffer in any kind of way? And the answer is no, he didn't. You know what I mean? So, you know, what I'm saying is, like, for us to get all bent out of shape about little things, you know, it's a little unnerving to me. That's all I'm saying. You know, I just think we probably need to calm down a little bit. You know what I mean? Because people are going to continue to be people, and some people are just not going to like other people because of whatever reason they feel like it. And you know what, though? Everybody's entitled to their opinion. You know what I mean? Now it's one thing to have an opinion, and it's another to kind of run around and spread it and shove it down people's throats and whatnot. And I got to tell you, unless somebody is on TV all the time or on the radio or any public forum spread negativity, I'm not going to acknowledge it. You know what I'm saying? And this conversation was supposed to be a private conversation, but it was the American media, you know, the same ones who sit there and try to vilify this guy, the same white people who try to vilify this dude are the same ones who glorified the story in the first place. I'm just giving you guys some food for thought. That's all I'm saying. I ain't like, don't sit there and comment and flame me talking about I'm a supporter of Don Sterling, because I'm not. I'm just saying, as a people, especially as, you know, American people, we kind of invite this kind of stuff because, remember, we're the only country that loves reality TV, and we love all type of drama. And anytime you see somebody going through some stuff, Americans love it. You know what I'm saying? And this story came out and America went crazy. You know what I mean? And I'm saying, you know, we got to start feeding the trolls, man. We got to start feeding the trolls. You know, so what we're probably going to do right here, we're probably going to go and do our last break, and I'll give you guys my final thoughts on what's going on right here. And if I can find it, where did it go? If I can find, yeah, there it is. So yeah, well, I will give you guys my final thoughts on this whole thing, and then we will wrap the show up, and you know, and that's how that's going to work out. So we'll do that. Check this out, fellas. If you're looking to build your online presence to gain a larger audience, there's only so much that social media can do for you. Although social media is a powerful way to build a following, there's nothing like having your own hosted website, and that's where Domain.com comes in. Domain.com offers the very best in web hosting services, and with plans starting at just under $4 a month, it's super affordable as well. And now, because you guys are faithful followers of TeamBoydTV's Black and Blue podcast, you can get yourself a sweet combo deal if you go to TeamBoydTV.com and click the Domain.com button. Once you click the button, you get redirected to the Domain.com promo page, where you sign up and use the promo code DOMFREE. That's DOMFREE. You get yourself a free domain. That's a free website that you can use to build your audience with. And Domain.com web hosting is packed with bonus features too. Check this out. All web hosting plans come with $100 Google AdWords bonus, $50 Yahoo/Bing search marketing credit, $50 in Facebook advertisement, and free YellowPages.com listing. And get this, a free toll-free phone number if you live in the United States. And if you're like me and you know absolutely nothing about website design, Domain.com even has the awesomely easy drag and drop site builder to get you up and running right away. So what are you waiting for? There's no excuse not to get your online presence rolling right now. Remember, go to TeamBoydTV.com, click the Domain.com button, and use the promo code DOMFREE, that's DOMFREE, to get your free domain to use for your website right now. All right, man. Hey, listen, I want to thank you guys for, once again, giving me this platform to, you know, get a lot of thoughts, stuff that are in my head out. I absolutely love doing this podcast for you guys. And I mean, like, honestly, I really had something super duper and exciting planned for you guys today. I really did. But, you know, I don't know. I just felt like, you know, there's something we had to do. We had to do this because of the fact that, you know, it's a really important thing to you know, to cover real quick, like, cause you know what, this will be over before we know it, and then we'll be back to doing what we've been doing, which we love the NFL, we love our Carolina Panthers, and you know, I'm a little bit upset that, you know, I had to do this today instead of doing the show that I originally wanted to do, because like I said, the conversation I had with my brother JB about Cam Newton was super insightful, and I cannot wait to give you guys that podcast. Now, you know what, instead of waiting till next week, I may do it tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? I may do it because normally the Black and Blue podcast is on Wednesdays around 7. You know what I mean? This is usually the time that I do the Raw report, but, you know, this was a little bit more important. This kind of trumped all that stuff. You know what I mean? And that kind of thing. So, again, the big donate button is on TeamBoydTV.com. At the bottom of the homepage is there. You know, and again, shout out to the two people that donated last week. You know, again, you know, that just made me feel so good. I mean, like, because that, you know, that means you guys actually like what I'm doing, and I appreciate that so much. And I think I announced, I gave you guys the announcement earlier today that since we got the schedule last week, which I was like super excited about, I can't wait to get into that a little bit more. You know, I have actually threw up and got you the schedule for the season 2 premiere of Team Boyd TV Live, hosted by me and featuring my brother JB and Glass from Get With It Sports. We would start doing our divisional breakdowns like you know, like we did last summer. We had a lot of fun doing that last summer. The audience interaction was fantastic. You know what I mean? I'm expecting a lot more of you guys to be on board this year. And again, this year it won't be one of those things that you can just find on YouTube. It's not going to be there like that. If you want to participate live, you're going to have to go to TeamBoydTV.com, man. And that's where the live broadcast will be. The archive versions, sure enough, will show up on YouTube as usual, but the live thing will be on TeamBoydTV.com, because check it out. You know, I built from scratch a super duper awesome chat system in there, so we'll be able to interact with the audience in ways that we were never able to do it before, because YouTube is just slow and sluggish. And you know what? YouTube is starting to get on my nerves a little bit, because like, it's getting increasingly difficult to do what you want to do on YouTube, because YouTube has, they're so strict with their rules and regulations that, you know, it kind of capture your creativity a little bit. You know what I mean? That's why I kind of like the podcast stuff a little bit better. Not saying that I'm going to stop doing the YouTube stuff. I'm still going to do that. But it's just, it's weird because you can't do all the things that you normally, you know, that you want to do, because of the fact that YouTube has so many limitations, and you know, for me, it kind of gets on my nerves, because, you know, I feel like I'm a super creative person. I try to bring you guys the absolute best show that I can give y'all that week, and, you know, YouTube is telling me, no, you can't do that, you can't, you know, and it kind of gets on my nerves a little bit. You know what I mean? It really does. And again, I want to give a big old shout out to my boy Reggie Holmes over at PanthersForLife.com on Facebook. You know, and everybody over there, Anthony Dunn, you know, No Comparison, my boy Steve Wright, and everybody else over there doing their thing, man. All the Panthers fans, man. I know you guys are excited. Now, did you guys see the first Madden trailer featuring our boy Luke Kuechly? Did you guys see that? You know what I'm saying? That looks pretty awesome. Luke Kuechly on the, you know, the Madden game finally showing Carolina some love, man, since they snubbed Cam Newton for the cover last season and whatnot. But yeah, you know, it's good stuff. And anyway, man, you guys have been fantastic as always. Like I said, you can hit me on Twitter at TeamBoydTV.com. Find us on Facebook at Facebook.com/TeamBoydTV. And they cutting me off. Yeah, I will see y'all guys next week. It's been a blast. Y'all take it easy. Peace.